Where do you think John Terry's going?
Well, it's going to be interesting whether he's going to take a little bit of time out. Reports are saying he's going to go around Europe and look at...
Is that real?
Well, maybe he's going to look at Dortmund, how they work, and, if it's
not
football related, or whether he wants to go on tour for Europe. I don't know. And a camper van might be good fun. But I'm sure that he'll be back in the game sooner or later, and it'd be a matter of time to say what club he's ready to go into. Obviously, you don't want to just jump into any club. You've got to have ambition. You've got to have backing from the board and the manager, or the owners, to take a job. But I'm sure he would be back in there. I think Dean Smith will be a little bit disappointed because I think they've had a good partnership there. Villa are going forward, and if they can bring a few more players in Villa, then I'm sure they'll have a good season next year.
They've definitely, the improvement is really obvious, isn't it, in terms of what they've done, just missing out on promotion, then getting promotion, then having that one season where by the skin of their teeth they managed to stay in the Premier League, and then having a storming start to the season. It's only really losing Jack Grealish that they kind of tipped down the table a little bit. But in terms of what John Terry has done at Aston Villa, the defence is markedly improved, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think the goalkeeper was a big part of that as well. Obviously, coming from Arsenal,
of course.
He had that great end to the season and wanted to be number one, so they made that big decision to let him go. I'm sure Tyrone Mings and people like that have certainly...
Ezri Konsa as well.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Konsa's been excellent. I'm sure they've really benefited with John Terry's experience. He was a great player for Chelsea, absolutely fantastic player. Great leader as well. Nearest probably I've seen to Tony Adams, I should imagine, back in the day. A little bit old school still. But he was Chelsea through and through, and you knew exactly what he's going to bring to the team when he's played for Chelsea. And I'm sure he's brought that through to the players now at Aston Villa. So I'm sure they'd be sad to see him go. But, there's always, a manager or a coach, certainly. I think John Terry's definitely looking... whether Frank Lampard's going to get back in as well. His old teammate to say, I fancy a little go being a manager now. So he might just bide his time to see what the right job to come up. But I'm sure he'll be back into football very soon.
What sort of thing do you think would be a good fit for him?
Well, I someone with ambition, really. I mean, you've always got to be back from the board because look at the mess Derby are in at the moment. If you're managing Derby, it must be a very, very stressful job, very hard job because you've got no players. But it's so a club that wants to go forward, wants to build, and an owner to say, look, we're back here. This is their big decision that we're going to get you in as our manager. Now we've got to help you now. And look, sometimes it won't work out for managers, but if it does work out, then John Terry, obviously, with all the experience and medals he's won over his career, then it could be brilliant.
Championship level, Premier League level?
I've seen my old teammate Patrick go into, but he's had a little bit more experience, obviously, other clubs. Look, if a job come up in a Premier League and an owner thought, well, John Terry's the man, I'm sure he would certainly look at it. But I think Championship. I think when Frank went from Derby to Chelsea, it was too hard to turn down, by the way, because it was Chelsea, he's a lovely club, and he was an absolute legend there. So he had to make that move. But would he have done better? I know Derby are in a bit of a mess at the moment, but a couple of more years in the Championship or a year in the Championship, just to learn a little bit more about the game, because it's you're with different players and a bit more experienced players if you go into the Premier League, and probably bigger egos if you like. So it's how to handle those guys as well. But I think that John Terry would look at every single situation. I mean, if a Championship side come up and there are lots of ambition to maybe get in that Premier League and get back to, I think he would take it, definitely. But I think that's obviously the lowest they go. I think Championship or Premier League would be where he's looking at, probably not League One or League Two. And we all know there's so many good managers out there, British managers, who can't get a job at the moment. So it's not easy, but I think John Terry, with his credentials, I think that someone will take a big gamble on John and say, look, let's give him a go.
So maybe that's the reason he's going around Europe. There's a piece here in The Sun which says that he's going around Europe to tour around, to tap into the mind of leading bosses. There's a bit on the bottom as well which basically says, look, he feels ready to take up the challenge. He's always had that ambition in his mind. And Dean Smith says, look, good luck to him. Got no doubt he's going to be a first-class manager. So good luck to John Terry. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll try and find out where he's going, what he's doing.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.